Hey everybody, this is the annual top-down analysis of the Forex market. At the beginning of the year, it's always good to look at the charts with a fresh mind, without preconceived notions, and just look and see, okay, what could happen within the next 5 to 10 years? And this is the idea of a big picture outlook. Well, just as a reminder, you might remember this chart I've just updated. It's the big currency shifts we're actually foreseeing with the next 10 to 15 years towards the year 2035, which is a very important cycle and year. So from last year I already showed this top four and bottom four list of currencies, and there's just a few changes. So basically the Swiss franc moved from number 4 clearly to the first level, so it's the strongest currency by far of all the 30 most liquid currencies we're looking at. And the Australian dollar that was in the top 4, well, it has moved in the bottom 4. Well, that's the main difference. Another difference we see is, well, the yen was the bottom first, right? So the weakest currency of all last year, and it has become even weaker as an outlook. So that has been confirmed clearly, and the Swiss has been confirmed to be strong and even stronger than before, by far the strongest currencies. We already saw spectacular moves in 2023, as you surely remember. The yen, weak currency, into strong currencies. Yen, Swiss, and well, from yen into the dollar, right? US yen. And well, let's have a look now at some of those currency charts. The pound, I'm undecided on the pound. I don't see any pattern that tells me it's more bullish, it's more bearish. So it's basically a swing factor for the year 2004 beyond. So it can move like in both directions. And the US dollar as well has an element of swing factor. I think it's rather a stronger currency, because it is the world reserve currency, but it's highly indebted as well. Same as the Japanese yen. Well, it's the highest indebted country that drags on the strength of the currency. And this is as well a dragging down of the dollar, right? So we've got both the world reserve currency. Well, there's interest, right, in the dollar, so it goes up, it appreciates, and it might depreciate because people are fearing the high debt levels, right? So it's this as well is a swing factor. Now, what about the top three? Well, top 2 and top 3, these are commodity currencies, so that tells us that the commodities might do really well next year and the years to come. And the Swiss franc is kind of a special currency. Well, it's a safe harbor currency. It's not a world reserve currency. It's too small to be that, but still it has elements of a safe harbor. Now on the bottom side, pound and euro. Well, we have the Ukraine war, the Russian tensions, geopolitical tensions going on. So that might be a reason, right, why the prices are depressed. And the Australian dollar, I'm not sure why. There might be trade tensions coming up. It might be the interest rates differential, because the Kiwi is doing well, but the Australian dollar is not doing well at all. That's how it looks like. Now let's have a look at the currencies. It's the euro dollar. So there's an element of a swing factor here with the dollar. Because we are here a range. Well, we've got two forces, right? One force is this higher time frame pattern, so we should re-break. If we re-break, well, that's very bearish for the dollar, but we could actually see a lower low, right? Breaking the par level and breaking the last low. Well, that would be very bullish for the dollar. Well, if it goes down, that could, for example, be a great financial crisis, number 2. That would actually trigger, right, a lot of money flows moving into the dollar. And if demand is high for the dollar, because it's a world reserve currency, well, then the value goes up. And we have to see what happens. Basically, it's in this relatively tight range. When it breaks out of the range, well, then we're basically moving, at least testing the green line, and maybe even re-break it higher. Or if we leave this tight range to the bottom, well, then we should actually test and shoot for the par level and the last low. Should this break, well, then we should see a quick rush towards the target area. So the dollar might be a surprise actually. The other swing factor is the pound. Right here is the pound. I'm rather bullish here for this chart, which is why the pound is a little bit stronger than the euro. Right. It looks like well, it could not run over the stop run level. That's a clear rejection bar. We've got another rejection bar. Overall, it doesn't look very bullish. It rather looks like a multi-year topping formation, and we might retest these lows. So this is for the pound. Now let's have a look at the yen pairs. Euro yen. So the yen is weak against all currencies, as well against a weak euro. Well, because the yen is so much weaker, right, than any other of the bottom four weakest currencies. The yen is even weak against the Australian dollar. So it looks very bullish here, or bearish for the yen. Let's have a quick look at the other yen, some other yen pairs. Odd yen. Clearly, right, yen is by far the weakest currency, because even the Australian dollar looks bullish, right? We've got stop run levels, and it might actually do well against the yen. Then the CAD yen looks very bullish for the Canadian dollar, right? Canadian dollar is number 2 of the strongest currencies. Then we've got the New Zealand dollar again. Well, it's number 3 of the strongest currencies, the Kiwi, and we see why. Well, we've got an S1 pattern on the monthly, and it looks like it's going to break the consolidation high. So very strong. Now the US yen is a bit special. As I might remember, we've got a Bank of Japan central bank intervention twice here, and at least twice here. But it actually shows, despite this strong sell-off, it shows weakness. Because here this sell-off went to the 21, healthy pullback in an overall uptrend, and here it only tested the 8 moving average. So we've got a double top. Should that break, well, then we should see a rush, right? A similar rush of what we have seen here. We might even get a measured move that could bring us, and would actually need to draw that. It should bring us to the 170 level. So there's still a lot of bullishness here in the yen, which actually shows here how weak it is. Now let's come to the strongest currencies of all, which is the Swissy, right? Well, it's strong against the weak euro. Looks very bearish here on the chart. So strong for the Swissy. Let's have a look at, well, strong currency against the weak. Well, it's a chart that explodes, right, to the upside. There's more potential to go. And then we've got the Australian dollar, a weak one, right? Actually really weak against the strong Swissy. Great stop run level, right? Pristine level. So price is drawn towards, pull, and then push through stop run move. Looks very bullish for the Swissy. And then a strong New Zealand against an even stronger Swiss. Well, we can see New Zealand is number 3, right, of the strongest currencies. The Swissy is number 1. So we see that the distance between both, despite both being relatively strong, well, is quite big actually. Because we're here at and testing a pristine stop run level. Should this fall, it very much looks like it's going to fall within the next couple of weeks, or we should see a big rush out of already very strong Kiwi into an even stronger Swiss franc. So let's have a quick look at some Australian dollar here. Yeah, so the Australian dollar looks even weak against a weak euro, right? This is an S1 pattern. We've made a first leg. Now we've got another consolidation Fortunately, it's not an S1. We don't see that, but we see a nice pullback to big number and 21. And it looks like we're going to see more than one more leg higher, and then breaking the consolidation high and running into this, running to and through the cluster area. So a very weak euro against a not very strong euro. When we talk about the Australian dollar, well, we want to see how it performs against the Kiwi, New Zealand dollar, because both are somehow correlated. We can see how this is, well, the Australian dollar looks really weak overall, right, over the next couple of years against the Kiwi. We're in a sideways range, it's tightening up, so we've got a volatility contraction, right? It's a triangle basically. That's a breakout failure. It miserably failed. So now we're back into a range even smaller, like even more volatility contraction. You can see it nicely here at the 200. Well, if it starts to break to the downside, this is clustered with stock run levels on the weekly and on the monthly. We should actually see some sell-off like here, like sell-off of the Australian dollar and a run into the Kiwi. So I'm looking forward when this chart starts to move. Now let's have a look at a few other. Now let's have a look at pound versus Australian dollar. This as well looks weak, right, for the Australian dollar, and strong for the pound. That is a swing factor. That's an S1 pattern, first leg. We're about to break this consolidation high, and then this is a really good level, right? So the pound might do well, and we have to see whether that gets confirmed over this and the coming years. Now let's zoom into the Kiwi, the New Zealand dollar. Let's have a look at it, how it looks against the pound. Well, this is a multi-year chart, and I'm really bearish. This is an S1 pattern, just followed by another S1 pattern, and we've got several like lower highs, another lower high testing the 200. This looks like a last kiss to me, and we've got double pressure. So we're looking for a momentum move, very similar like this or like this. Well, actually combined, because it's a double pressure pattern. So that means a lot of strength of the Kiwi against the pound. Now let's have a look at the Kiwi versus the euro. So the Kiwi should be strong, right? And that's what we see. It's an S1 pattern. They're basically in balance over the last couple of years, but there's a lot of potential that the Kiwi is going to show a lot of strength against the euro once this starts to run to the downside, right? There's a lot of room to go. Now the Kiwi, now interesting, two strong currencies, the Kiwi versus the Swissy. Well, we talked about that already, right? So there's a lot of potential for the Swissy here to go lower. So this is it for big picture outlook for this year and for the years to come. So it looks quite interesting.